Welcome to today's Explainer. We're jumping right into theater and audience, exploring the encounter. It's a fascinating look at that deeply weird, absolutely magical dynamic between the stage and the seats, and how live performers interact with us, the audience.
So what does theater actually do for, and more importantly, to those who witness, watch, and participate in it? Seriously, think about that for a sec. When you grab your ticket and find your seat, are you just sitting there soaking it in, or is the show doing something directly to you? This is our big hook today, and it completely forces us to rethink our role the second those house lights go down.
We're pulling all this from a brilliant little book called Theater and Audience by Helen Freshwater. And I mean little, it's only 86 pages long. Published by Macmillan Education UK, it is ridiculously concise, but man, does it pack a punch. It completely turns our understanding of live performances upside down. It really proves you don't need some massive textbook to totally reshape how you look at a night out.
For a very long time, there's been this widespread, almost baked-in belief in the performing arts. We call it the promise of transformation. It's this underlying assumption that sitting in a dark theater has a unique power over you. The promise is basically that you walk through those lobby doors as one person, and somehow, through the sheer magic of the encounter, you walk out permanently changed.
20th and 21st century theater absolutely leans into this. There's this deeply held belief that a show can do three core things. It can actively influence you, deeply impact you, and ultimately transform you. We're not just talking about light entertainment here. We're talking about theater acting as a total catalyst for personal or even societal change. The expectation is that the performance literally reaches out and leaves a permanent mark on you.
But here's the thing. How do creators actually guarantee that happens? Well, over the last century, they realized they couldn't just trust you to sit quietly in the dark and have an epiphany. They wanted a sure thing. So they started pushing boundaries, actively coming up with ways to force your engagement. They want you actively involved. They want to make sure the encounter is a two-way street, not just you passively staring at a stage.
And this push for involvement takes wildly different forms. Take Bertolt Brecht's epic theater over in Europe, right? His whole goal was to keep the audience critically aware, basically forcing them to think actively about the politics of the play instead of just getting swept away by emotion. Contrast that with the pure chaotic spectacle of the Blue Man Group in North America, where active involvement might literally mean getting dragged on stage or ducking out of the way of flying paint. Both examples show the massive spectrum of how a performance demands that you participate.
But this is exactly where Freshwater drops a massive conceptual bomb. She introduces what she calls the empowerment equation. This is the super common assumption that active audience participation automatically results in audience empowerment. It's the myth that if a director makes you stand up or shout or vote on an ending, you're suddenly the one holding the power. And this is the central myth our explainer is about to completely shatter.
Freshwater just methodically takes this equation apart. Just think about it. Step 1, active participation is forced or strongly requested by the performers. You play along, you join in. But step 2 is the kicker. Does that action actually equal empowerment? By picking apart this supposed link, we have to ask ourselves a pretty uncomfortable question. Are you actually empowered, or are you just blindly following the rules of a game that someone else designed for you?
She nails her objective perfectly, stating the book, quote, seeks to unsettle any simple equation between audience participation and empowerment, unquote. That right there is the whole crux of this explainer. Just because a show makes you participate, it definitely does not mean you hold the power in that room. Actually, scratch that. It's more like you're just playing a highly orchestrated part in the creator's grand vision.
Now, to make a bold claim like that, one that goes against literally a century of theatrical tradition, you need some serious expertise to back it up. So, who exactly is Helen Freshwater? When someone comes along and dismantles our deepest beliefs about art and participation, we really need to know where their insight is coming from.
Well, she has spent her entire career studying the people sitting in the seats. She's a reader in theater and performance at Newcastle University, and her work is extensive. From her 2009 deep dive into theater censorship in Britain to her role as co-investigator on the massive Understanding Audiences for the Contemporary Arts project between 2017 and 2020, she has a relentless dedication to unpacking the control exerted over and by the audience. Her resume completely backs up this disruptive take.
So, just to recap the foundation of what we're looking at here.
It's wild to think about how much heavy academic lifting and critical analysis Macmillan Education managed to pack into an 86-page book on the performing arts back in 2009. It's a tiny little footprint, but it leaves an absolutely massive impact on the assumptions we make every time we experience art. It genuinely forces us to rethink the entire mechanical structure of a live performance.
And that wraps up our explainer for today, but I want to leave you with one final, pretty provocative thought. The next time you grab a ticket to a show, and you're asked to clap along, stand up, or jump into the action, are you actually being empowered, or are you simply performing the exact role they assigned to you? Thanks so much for joining me today, and hey, keep questioning the dynamics around you.